Realme C55 is one of the most interesting budget smartphones announced in 2023. This phone was announced in March of 7th, 2023, and it packs some impressive features in it. First things first, we're going to talk about the body of this phone. The Realme C55 has the dimensions of 165.6 times 75.9 times 7.9 millimeter, which weighs around 189.5 grams. So the build quality of this phone has a glass front and plastic frame, and also the back of this phone is made out of plastic. Unfortunately, we don't have any Corning Gorilla Glass in this phone, so we have also a dual SIM, both are nano SIM. The feel of this phone is amazing. With a 6.72 inches, this phone feels sturdy and huge in the hand, which can give you that good impression of watching content or consuming a YouTube content or Netflix content, which is a plus sign for this phone. So the variant that I'm using is a 6GB of RAM plus 128GB of ROM. So the display type of this phone is the IPS LCD with a 90Hz refresh rate, which is fluid and smooth while using this phone. The peak brightness of this phone is 680 nits, which is impressive for such a budget phone, and I really loved how bright this phone can get, even outside in direct sunlight. As you can see, the bezels are relatively small for a budget smartphone. The screen to body ratio is 86.7%, which is good for this phone, and I really love the 6.72 inches display on this phone with slimmer bezels. The resolution is one thing that amazed me. For a phone under $200, the resolution is the top notch in this phone. We have a 1080 by 2400 pixels, which is crisp whatsoever. I really loved the crispness of this phone, and also the words and text on this phone just is at par with the high-end, more expensive smartphones. One will think if this is a budget phone, then the OS might be mediocre, but that's where you go wrong. So the OS of this phone is the Android 13 with the Realme UI 4.0. So the Realme UI is basically ColorOS, which is basically the skin that Oppo uses on its phone and also OnePlus. Mark you, Realme is a sub-brand of Oppo, so don't get this confused. Realme is a more budget-friendly type of a device for Oppo. The chipset that this phone uses is the MediaTek Helio G88, which is a 12nm chip, and on a day-to-day basis, basically this phone performs okay. The GPU is the Mali G52 MC2, which on gaming is relatively good. So this phone can game relatively nice, and I played some few titles using this phone, and I can say the experience was relatively nice. So this phone packs some impressive features like card slot, memory card slot. For a phone in 2023, having a card slot it's like crazy. Most of the phones that are being released these days doesn't have any dedicated memory card slot, so you're forced to use and maximize the internal storage, and if you fill the internal storage, you'll have to delete what you deem not needed in your phone, which is a bad thing. The most impressive thing about this phone is its camera. This phone comes with a humongous camera. We have a dual lens at the back. One is a 64 megapixels wide, and the other one is a 2 megapixels depth camera, which is not that impressive. I really hope that Realme will include an ultra wide camera. Even though this phone has a 64 megapixels main camera, you can only shoot the video maximally at 1080p at 60 frames per second, which is not impressive. For such specs, I was hoping maybe we could shoot our videos at 4K 30 frames per second. That will be maybe nice. So the selfie camera is an 8 megapixels wide camera which supports HDR, and nothing more to say about an 8 megapixels selfie shooter. The 8 megapixels selfie camera can also shoot videos at 1080p at 30 frames per second. This phone has an audio jack. Yep, you heard me right. This phone has a 3.5mm jack for connecting your wireless earphones. There's nothing more to talk about an audio jack. You know what audio jack is, I know what audio jack is, so yeah, it's a good thing. So the miscellaneous things about this phone are have a Wi-Fi, of course, a dual band Wi-Fi on this phone. Also, the Bluetooth is a 5.2 version, which is impressive. This means that connection range on this phone via Bluetooth is going to be amazing. And also the 5.2 version of Bluetooth has impressive features packed that you're going to experience using this phone. You also have an NFC, near field communication, and USB Type-C type is 2.0. So the fingerprint of this phone is side mounted on the power button, which is relatively fast. I know it's not the fastest, but it's relatively fast and accurate most of the times, and it gets the job done, which is unlocking your phone. So we have the 5000 milliamps of non-removable battery in this phone with a 33-watt wired charger, which can get you around 50% in 29 minutes. So there are 3 colors of this phone: the rainy night, rainforest, and sun shower. So talking about the Realme C55, it's a very interesting phone, and I really did enjoy using it. I took some pictures. Here are the picture samples that I took using the 64 megapixels shooter. And these photos, they look good. I won't complain about the photos. They look good and get the jobs done. I think that the saturation is a little bit exaggerated on this phone, and turning down saturation will get you near perfect photos. Also, the selfie camera is terrible. Yep, the selfie camera is not that impressive. The 8 megapixels shooter is just there to make you feel like you're having a selfie shooter. Yep, here are some photo samples of the selfie, and there's no single one that I loved. There's not much to say about the selfie camera, except that it produces terrible photos. Hey, so let me know in the comment section what you think about the Realme C55 smartphone. I know it's a very new phone in the market, less than a month released, and give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and ding that notification bell so that you'll be notified each and every time that a new video goes live. So until next time, have a good one. Cheers.